Reaction time on the Heat Report. I am Nic Rohloff. Miami Heat exit interviews took place on Wednesday afternoon. Erik Spoelstra and the entire team, well, not entire, we'll talk about that in a second, talked to the media about the season. No Pat Riley, so we're only reacting to what Spo and the players said. When Riley does his end of the season press conference, the state of address, if you will, we will definitely have a reaction to that. But before we get into what was said on Wednesday afternoon, hit that thumbs up icon. The most liked video we got last week had 231. My boss has challenged me to top that number and get 250. So help your boy out. Let's hit that like button and get to 250 likes. All right, the first takeaway I have is from Tyler Herro. Did he threaten Pat Riley in the Miami Heat? Now, this might be a little far-fetched, but the phrasing that he used when talking about a potential contract extension certainly was a choice. What do I mean by that? Well, I think it's a good opportunity to show the exact quote that Tyler Herro had. He was asked about his extension. It says, if it doesn't get done in October, I think we can get it done next season. Just be a little bit of a higher of a price. Is that, like, I wouldn't say it's a threat. Like, he's not Jimmy Butler threatening, like, if I don't get paid, I'm leaving. But it kind of felt like he was like, yeah, if you don't pay me now, like, I'm going to ask for more later. I'm going to get more next year. Like, it is odd. And I do want to remind people about what he is eligible for on October 1st because of what he has done this past season and three-point champion, making the All-Star team. His max extension is 3 years, $149.7 million. Now, that wouldn't kick in until the 27-28 season because he has 2 more years under his current contract of $31 and $33 million, respectively. Now, I do want to make note that Herro technically is not wrong in terms of if they wait a year, the price would go up. Because if he does not sign it in between October 1st and October 20th this year, he would then become eligible next season for a 4-year, $206.9 million contract, which obviously is more expensive on an AAV basis than a 3 for $149. And if, hypothetically, he had another career year next season where he made the All-NBA team, which would be amazing because it would be him being a top 15 player in the NBA, he would become eligible for a 5-year, $380 million contract extension next season. So that is something that I'd be fine paying if he ultimately became an All-NBA level player. But it is fascinating to see that Tyler Herro clearly is eyeing the max value extension, whether it's this offseason or next offseason. He's going to want max money. And that is a question that we'll have to talk about. But it is also good to make note that, yeah, we made it seem like he might not threaten, but like make it known that he wants his money and he wants to be paid to what he believes he is worth. He does want to stay in Miami. He mentioned multiple times throughout his exit interview that this year was the best for him personally, but it did not translate to winning, and all he wants to do is win and win in Miami for the Heat. So I think it's going to be an interesting conversation around Tyler this offseason. He wants to be here, but he also wants to be paid. Similar to Jimmy Butler, but not completely the same. Before I give you my answer, get in the comment section. Should the Heat extend Tyler Herro this offseason? Talking about this offseason, so it would be that 3-year, $149.7 million, or maybe a different extension at a lower price point. Let me know your thoughts. Type Y for yes or N for no. I'll consistently say this, and I have no issue with dealing this as well. It's not for the max. Like, I'm sorry, Tyler, I love you, homegrown player. You've improved. You've been a home run hit at the 13th overall selection in that 2019 draft. But you are simply not a $48, $49, $50 million player. You're not, because he doesn't play defense, and when the playoffs have arrived every year of his career, he has mostly not risen to the occasion. He has declined in the playoffs, and that is not a player that you pay $48, $59, or $50 million to headline your team. I would, as I'll say this again, I'd pay Tyler $35 million per season at max. That's a third option in the NBA and in the postseason. I think that's what Tyler Herro is. He's a third option. Let's move over to the next one here. Davion Mitchell. Does he want back on the Heat this upcoming offseason. We have talked about him being a restricted free agent. Miami absolutely should try to re-sign Davion, and they'll have the right to match any contract as long as they offer him that $8.3 million tender. When asked about his future with Miami, he kind of was coy about it, said, I don't know what the future holds. I'm not really going to get into that, but I had an amazing time here. Love all my teammates. Now, I would make note that this is just a political answer, if you will, but you also have to take in the fact that he said about a month ago when asked about his experience with Heat culture that he does want to return. And to me, that's a no-brain decision. After being acquired by Miami at the trade deadline from Toronto in exchange for a second-round pick and PJ Tucker, he started some games but then came off the bench and was absolutely phenomenal, having a career-high scoring mark, although just 30 games, but he's never averaged double-digits points per game. He did that in the 30-game stretch for the Heat, and shooting a career-high field goal percentage. And the part that was so mesmerizing to me was his three-point shooting. 44.7. He was always a poor shooter. That was his biggest knock, but he was knocking them down with ease when left open in the games for Miami. And he was one of the rare players on this roster that actually performed in the postseason. Balled out in the two play-in games, basically won Miami the play-in game in overtime against the Hawks, and then played, I think, well enough for his role in the first-round series against Cleveland. You need to re-sign him. There is projections out there of a 4-year, $40 million deal. I would do that without hesitation. That is solid backup point guard / fringe starter money at the NBA level. And for a team that just needs good players on it, Davion Mitchell is a good player. He understands what Spo and this organization wants. Keep Davion Mitchell in this locker room. All right, let's move over to Kel'el Ware now, because he spoke on his rookie season and what he needs to improve on this offseason. And, well, he knows he has to improve, and the good thing is he also knows what he needs to improve on, and it's the same thing that I've been saying since he got drafted last June. He needs to add weight to his frame. He mentioned, I need to get stronger, and I'm glad he recognizes that. And I know the coaching staff and front office has been in his ear about that as well. And I don't want to get confused, because Kel'el Ware had an unbelievably good rookie season. He exceeded my expectations, and I believe he exceeded most of everyone's expectations from this channel in the comments. Because if you told me he was ultimately going to perform in 64 games, be the starting center for the back 2.5 months of the season into the playoffs, I would have been shocked. I was just hoping Ware and Bam were going to get reps together as a starting 4-5 combo in the 25-26 season. So the fact they've already gotten like 40 games underneath their belt, or 30 games starting with each other, makes me very, very happy. And these numbers aren't gaudy, but you see the flashes, his ability to defend, to rebound, to reject shots, to finish lobs, and even step out and knock down some three-pointers. You see the reason why Heat fans are so optimistic about Ware's future, but he does have to become more focused on the defensive end. He has to add weight, and he also has to have more energy on the court. We're going to continue to talk about Ware here in a second, but make sure you do subscribe to the channel for daily Miami Heat content. Nobody covers the Heat more than us on YouTube. We're the largest sole Heat YouTube channel there is, so keep on growing. Hit that sub button. Let's continue to get to 22,200. We're 37 away. Adebayo was actually asked about Kel'el Ware and his rookie season. He said that he's seen a kid that Spo didn't play him at the beginning, but we were all begging him to play. I'm proud of him, referring to Ware. I said it before, I think he can be a great player in the league. But he did not stop there as well. He gave praise to Kel'el for being an impact player for the Heat in his rookie season, but said that he thinks he could be a future defensive player of the year. He said he's going to be a great player in the league. He can be in contention for a depoy. And Bam Adebayo, I don't think he's just saying that to show flowers and love to his teammate. If Bam is going to say that, I think he truly believes it. Adebayo is someone who, in his own right, deserves to be a Defensive Player of the Year award winner. If he thinks Ware, when he puts it all together, adds weight, and becomes more, let's just say, in tune with NBA rotations and more expects what is happening from opponents and isn't fooled by shot fakes and he's not bumped off his spot, I actually agree, because his 7-foot height, 4.5 wingspan, and his shot blocking ability, it's hard to teach that. Now, like I keep on saying, he needs to add weight. He needs to become a smarter defender and a smarter player in general, and the Heat do have a star in the making potentially on their hands with the defensive side of the floor, and you hope that that added weight will help him finish inside around the rim more as well. Another one that surprised me, this one more concrete, Kevin Love's returning to the Miami Heat, and I'm shocked by that. I am. Obviously, prayers out to the Kevin Love family, as it was announced on Monday of this week that Kevin Love's father passed away. So prayers to Kevin Love and his family. Explains a lot of the reasons why he was away from the team this year due to personal reasons. But he made it clear on Wednesday afternoon that he is coming back for next season. Now, he was under contract for this next year. Remember, he signed a 2-year deal in free agency, 2-year, $8 million this past offseason. So this was year 1 of that 2-year deal. I thought Kevin Love was ultimately going to retire. Doesn't sound like that's going to be the case, but Kevin Love will be back on $4 million contract. And from a pure basketball sense, I'm not the biggest fan of this. Kevin Love is a great veteran. He's a great locker room presence. And I like that he will be there to help work through the kinks of another rookie in Miami, another second season and off season for Tyler Herro, Kel'el Ware, I meant to say there. But he's just not a productive player anymore. And you saw, the Heat keep Udonis Haslem around for the locker room and like the veteran experience late in the year. But was he getting $4 million like Kevin Love was? Like, no, it was like the vet min, like 2.3, 3.1. I know it's only $1 million difference, but when you're up against the first apron, second apron, and the luxury tax line, every million matters. So having Kevin Love return from a basketball sense, I'm not the biggest fan of, but he will be valuable in terms of locker room and culture. That is for sure. Before we move on to the final takeaway, let me know your one-word reaction to Kevin Love returning. I'm shocked. That'd be my one word because I did truly think he was going to retire, but he's back for one more season, so I guess let's ride. Last one we'll talk about here, Alec Burks. Does he want to resign with the Miami Heat? So the Heat have 2 real free agents. Alec Burks, he's unrestricted. Davion Mitchell is restricted. And then they have a decision to make with Duncan Robinson. Do they guarantee his contract for $19 million and change, or do they let him go before July 8th, have $9 million in dead cap, but save $10 million in cap space? But when it comes to Alec Burks, he wants to be back. He said he enjoyed his one season with Miami. He signed a vetman deal last offseason. He said hopefully he can come back. Now, I don't know if Alec Burks will have a large market in the free agency period, and if he does get signed by someone, it will be a vetman deal. But I would absolutely take Alec Burks back on the Heat next season, especially if you let Duncan Robinson go. Burks did not play a lot this season. He only played in about 40-something games. But when he did play, he was effective. And I have always said throughout the season that I think Alec Burks deserved to play more. He averaged 7 points a game when he played. He shot 42% from the field and 42% from 3. Like, he was a sniper for Miami most of this year. And he had some big-time performances. If you let Duncan Robinson go and make some seismic changes to his roster, I wouldn't hate bringing back Alec Burks on a vetman deal, having him come off the bench and be your 3-point shooter in Duncan Robinson's role. Obviously not going to fill the same exact void of the crazy dribble handoffs and the driving, the facilitating that Duncan has improved on. But in terms of being able to knock down shots in the half-court offense, Alec Burks proved that he can do that at a high level still. So I would re-sign him on a vetman deal if you ultimately let Duncan Robinson go. I'll say this, if you keep Duncan Robinson, I'll probably let Alec Burks walk and sign a different type of vetman because you just saw this year in the rotation. There's really not enough room for both Alec Burks and Duncan, but Alec, I think, is a better defender than Duncan. He's on par in terms of shooting, in terms of catch and shoot situations. Not as good as a tough shot maker in the dribble handoff game that I mentioned. But if you let Duncan go, I'm all in on keeping Alec Burks. And when the offseason continues to roll around, we will have you covered. Hit that sub button. We'll have you covered in free agency, the draft, and more trade rumors as well. So hit that sub button and lock us in here at the Heat Report for the top coverage on the Heat this offseason.